We do have news with the Arkansas library bill. This out today at time of recording here. Judge questions attorneys over use of minors in new Arkansas library law. So the library law that seeks to stop the libraries from peddling porn to children. Obviously, it's come under suit. Arkansas State Attorney General Tim Griffin says he's going to continue to defend this law. But there are people who are upset with the law because, and I'm going to characterize it, and I don't care what their arguments are to the public, they want the status quo to continue. The status quo where LGBTQ books that show nudity and depict and horrible, terrible sexual things that groom our children, they want those books to continue to be available to minor children, and that's why they filed this lawsuit. They don't believe that a government can pass laws saying that certain things are bad, including content like porn books to children. They don't want us to say that those are bad. As a matter of fact, they want them to be affirmed because they want the lifestyle to be affirmed, and they want to solve their demographic problem. That's another problem. They have a demographic problem that relies on, if their movement is going to continue, if their sex religion is going to continue, they have to have the children of straight couples change their ways and grow up to be LGBT, trans, whatever, like them. And getting control of the schools, getting control of the books is their way to do that. It's actually a necessity for their movement to continue, because if they don't get that, then just by sheer numbers and the fact that conservative couples have children and are having a lot more children, the whole liberal ideology collapses in and of itself in 20 years. This is why they need the kids, okay? Now, that's practically. There's also a sick lust involved as well in many of these cases. But, just the way things go, you're going to have federal judges who are going to try to do anything they can, and they're really just heaping judgment upon themselves by doing this. I feel terrible. But they're now going to try to find a way to wiggle out of enforcing this law. They're going to put an injunction against it, likely, and that's what I can tell you today after reading this piece in the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette by Josh Snyder. Judge questions attorneys over use of minors in new Arkansas library law. The judge is basically, well, the minors could be 5 or it could be 17. Yeah, well, we have laws, though. That's why we have, you got to draw a line somewhere, okay? A federal judge questioned attorneys over the use of the term minors in a new Arkansas law on library materials during a hearing on Tuesday, just a week before it's scheduled to go into effect. The hearing was held in response to a request to temporarily block the law, Act 372 of 2023. After hearing arguments from and questioning attorneys on both sides of the issue, U.S. District Judge Timothy Brooks said he expected to issue a written ruling on the request by the end of the week. A motion filed Thursday by a coalition of 17 plaintiffs in the case asked Brooks to issue the preliminary injunction against the law. So at time of recording, it is Wednesday, the 26th. By the time you watch this, you're watching this injunction has likely already come down. And the reason I'm predicting the injunction is going to come down is because of this article. A motion filed Thursday by a coalition of 17 plaintiffs in the case asked Brooks to issue the preliminary injunction against the law. Alternatively, the motion asked the judge to grant a temporary restraining order barring the application of 2 sections of the law until a decision is reached on the request for a preliminary injunction. An accompanying brief argues that the plaintiffs will suffer irreparable harm if they're not allowed to continue to peddle porn books to kids. No, that's not what it says, but that's what it should say. It should say that the plaintiffs will suffer irreparable harm if they are not allowed to give kids access to pedophile porn books. Act 372 is scheduled to take effect on August 1st. It was signed by Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders on March 30th. The lawsuit, which challenges the constitutionality of 2 of the law's 6 sections, was initially filed in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Arkansas on June 2nd. you know what, even if they throw this law out, we're going to get another bite at the apple. You're not going to stop us. I'm just telling you right now, we'll craft a different law. We'll take your decision and we'll find a way to craft a different law and we'll pass that and you'll challenge that. And you know what? Eventually we're going to win. We are not going to allow this to happen. We're going to take back our libraries, both school libraries and county libraries. And I'm just telling you right now, there is nothing that you can do about it. This is objectively obscene material. It should be illegal. It should be labeled as child abuse. And eventually, there's going to be a county sheriff that's going to get wise. This county sheriff is going to go in and just start making arrests for doing this stuff. They could do it right now, in my opinion, because they're the county sheriffs. And they should be doing it right now. But if they want the law to get developed a little bit more to where they have a little bit more room, that's what's coming. I'm sorry. If you think you're going to take the kids, little innocent kids who don't even know what sex is, and put this stuff out for everybody to see, and our taxpayer dollars are going to support what is objectively evil, what is objectively ruining somebody's life, I'm just telling you right now, it's not going to happen. Okay? Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon, someday, for the rest of your life. Back to this article. The first of the contested sections, let's get to the point where they ask the attorneys the questions, because this is why I think the injunction is coming down. The second section establishes statewide procedures for citizens to challenge the appropriateness of physical library materials that are available to the public. During his questioning, the attorneys for the defense about both sections, Brooks said the law makes no effort to discern between what is harmful to a 5-year-old and what is harmful to 17-year-olds. He described the absence of discernment in the law a fatal defect. So the judge is already saying here, Timothy Brooks already saying, look, this is a fatal flaw, this is a fatal defect, because you used the term minors, which is a legal term, 18 years old. And he doesn't like that because he thinks, well, you mean a 7? You know, some of these books might be good for 17-year-olds. You know, some of these books that are teaching, sexual acts, maybe 17-year-olds need to read about those. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of that's going through his head. Maybe there's something else. I don't know. Maybe there's something else. But I don't know what else you're supposed to do. How else would you write the law? How else would you write the law? I guess maybe you could say minors... I guess you would just get rid of the word minors altogether, and see, maybe this is why DeSantis down in Florida, they passed their anti-grooming law, and they said you can't talk about kids, you can't talk about sex with kids until the 4th grade, right? Maybe that's why. Maybe this is that concept. I don't know, but you should just ban it altogether. It's none of people's business. This is not in the interest of public health. It's not in the interest of public good. So I don't know. I mean, use the term minor. We have the term minor because it's a legal term that's defined. Timothy Brooks, from what I can tell, this judge doesn't like the definition of the word minor. He doesn't like it, so now it's somehow a fatal flaw. Because he doesn't like the fact that 17-year-olds won't be able to check out the books. Anyway, we'll see. But I'm telling you right now, that tells you everything you need to know. Of course, he's pulling out hypotheticals, and that's actually brought up. Brooks asked Senior Assistant Attorney General Noah Watson, an attorney for the defense, how he would respond to the notion that libraries, bookstores, and other entities referenced in the law would have to make decisions about what material they must curtail based on what is considered harmful to the youngest minors, with no regard for the oldest minors. Oh, no, we've got to let the older minors get their hands on smut books. We have to. We just have to, I tell you. Brooks said that under the law, a romance novel written by author Jackie Collins wouldn't be considered obscene for adults, but would meet the definition for a 17-year-old minor on the grounds that it wouldn't be allowable for a 5-year-old. Again, he also misses the point of the law. Not only do you have to have, if it's obscene and you put it out there, if somebody has a problem with it, they go to the quorum court or they go to the school board. Okay? So I don't think a book like that, there's going to be somebody file a complaint on it. I mean, they could, but they're probably not, because this is addressing an issue for children that are much, much younger. But you see what they do here? See how these liberals do this? They're going to try to find, and this is just what attorneys do, I'm going to try to find anything I can to get my way. Here they go. So Watson defended the state's position, replying that the situations put forth by the judge were merely hypothetical. Courts cannot look at hypotheticals. Now look at this. Courts cannot look at hypotheticals, he argued earlier during the trial. They can only consider the facts placed before the court. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. And Judge Timothy Brooks just doesn't like the legal definition of what a minor is. That's from what I can tell, that's what it is. So look out. They're going to put an injunction on this law. Things are going to go on, and the case will go on. But they're going to try to stop it before it's implemented in August, in a couple of days. So we shall see. You need to pray for somebody like Timothy Brooks, because if he stops this law from going into effect, it means only one thing: that he is directly responsible for children being exposed to books that set them up for a life of failure, that sexualize them, that actually enables pedophilia as well. And so pray for Tim Brooks. Pray for him if he does the right thing, but also pray that if he does the wrong thing, that he repents and changes and doesn't go down this path. This is awful. These judges like to act like there's such thing as neutrality. They like to act like there's just this political, we can somehow be neutral in my decisions because I've gone through law school, I've gone through this, this legal industrial complex, and I've got to maintain integrity. I mean, that's what's so messed up about our legal system, enabling these these books designed for kids, that are gross, obscene, or full of porn, that could somehow, ruling that they're still allowed to continue to be placed in front of children is somehow considered in the legal world the good thing, the move of integrity. And so the Bible says, woe to those that call evil good and good evil. So woe to Tim Brooks if he's going to do this. That's all that's what I have to say about it. So pray for federal judge Timothy Brooks, because I think he's about to make a terrible decision. Anyway, this is Conservative Arkansas Media. Thanks so much for watching. I'm not trying to blackpill. We've got a lot of great stuff going on here. And we're going to continue to do this. There is a disconnect. Just like there was a disconnect between, as we talked about at the top of the show, there was a disconnect between the realization that we have constitutional carry versus when we didn't have constitutional carry, and it's taken these federal or these state agencies a long time to catch up. Likewise, we've got control of the legislatures all across Christian red states, and the judges are going to take a little bit longer to catch up, is kind of the way I feel. But it's only a matter of time, folks. As long as the Supreme Court doesn't do what they did with Roe versus Wade and take this argument away from the individual states that they are having right now and all of these individual legislatures, as long as they don't take that debate away and come down with some sweeping ruling that says, you have the right to have puberty-blocking hormones and any surgery you want, regardless of what age you are, as long as they don't do something like that, which I don't think they will, considering the makeup, it's only a matter of time before our laws on the books essentially reflect what is good, and we prevent evil. And doing this type of stuff to minor children is evil. It's, in my opinion, also evil once you're not a minor. But, hey, let's just do a little bit of legislative triage, and let's try to save who we can save. Right now, those are the kids.